Oh yeah, right back at you once again. Deeper dive, dialogue unlimited, baby. Just when you thought we was gone, like a pretty thief, we right back. Except we giving you something and not taking. Shout out to the whole Schwable Room crew, the Splash Specialist, and the dive instructor are here once again, baby. It's that time. Let's go deep. For show.
For show.
Yeah. What it is, man.
Man, we here, man. Look. We back at it.
Like I said, like a greedy thief, we back. But we ain't taking nothing. We giving y'all shit. And before I forget, we don't demonstrate, bitch, we penetrate. Yeah, you cannot go on without the tagline in this piece. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Yeah, man. What's the word?
We back at it, man. Just glad to be back in the air chair with you. You know what I'm saying?
Fact indeed. Fact indeed. Oh, buddy. Yeah, man. Shoot, it's been a minute. I mean, I know we both been taking care of home. Things have been happening. Life happens. You know what I'm saying? But again, we back. And speaking of taking care of home, this topic of this podcast is about our home, the yo, and the state that we're from, the O. H, not to the O. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Youngstown, shout out Youngstown.
Yeah,
hometown,
buddy.
Home slice, home space, yo.
All of that. For sure.
Gone by many titles.
Yeah, man.
Baby Beirut.
Buddy. Yompton,
Little Chi-Town. Murder Central.
Oh, I mean, and what we also known for is the arson capital of the world.
Yes, allegedly. Those alleged house fires that turn up insurance monies and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Well, you know, if they would get out there and tear them down the right way and just rebuild.
Yeah, then that would be gentrifying.
Well, that's already going on with the buyers from from a certain other town that has a big football team. You know, that there's a lot of little lofts and leasing, available leasing if you have that kind of loot, you know, downtown.
Yeah.
Y'all see the clock tower? That's the clock tower. Yeah, no.
For sure. That famous clock tower.
Mm-hmm.
The joint, you know what I'm saying? But shoot, so what kind of stories we got about this spot? Because I mean, even though it's a small city, it's very unique in its own right. Very unique.
Very popular back in its heyday, and you know, the stories linger. They carry on from generation to generation, you know.
Yeah, and the one thing about that, some of these stories are true. Not even some. I said guaranteed 92.35% are true.
Yo, growing up in Youngstown, you definitely learned the phrase "truth is stranger than fiction" to be facts.
Yeah, buddy. Because somehow the fiction still became a fact in some way, shape, or form.
It always does.
The stories that you think is too good to be true were indeed true. So, man.
Oh, yeah. It really did go down that way.
For sure. You got any stories to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to think of where to begin. Started off light or get right into the nit and grit. You know what I mean?
Shoot.
the reason why we're not beating around the bush, but jumping in anywhere, I guess, would be fine. But listen, man, this is one of the cities affected by the time period where the state decided to just one day shut down all of the state hospitals, and these were state psychological hospitals. The mental wards, the some people call it the loony bins.
Yeah.
They just shut them down all of a sudden. I mean, one day they were open, the next day the doors were open, but everybody was gone. Okay, and they were out in a neighborhood near you.
Yeah.
So the Youngstown Metropolitan Housing Authority, shout out to them. They got real busy real fast. But yeah, man. Okay, so one of the stories I've shared this story on a past podcast. I want to say it was with the Three the Hard Way, or it might have just been when Tank and I were just shooting the shit, so to speak, starting out. But yeah, man, I used to work downtown at a radio station. WRBP. Shout out to We Rock Beautiful People.
Yeah.
WGFT The Gift AM 1500.
Word.
My pops was a on-air personality, a salesperson for the station. He did a lot. News director, I want to say at one time. Anyhow, I'm working down there. I just got in the station. I went from being an intern, unpaid, to getting put on the payroll, and I was gaining some traction, and I got some opportunities thrown my way to being on-air talent myself. So in the daytime, I would engineer the programming for the morning drive on through the early afternoons, and we would get little breaks in between. We would switch off whatever. Another engineer might come in and run the board while you go and grab lunch. So I went out to grab lunch, and I run into a brother that was unhoused, that had been a part of that grouping of individuals that were just let out into the streets without homes from the hospitals. And we always called him Greg the Pimp. Shout out to Greg, you know what I'm saying? But Greg was real smooth, you know what I'm saying? To be an unhoused person, and in actuality, I want to say he was no longer really unhoused, but more so, what's the word I'm looking for? Not panhandling, but he'd be in between checks, not allowed to work anywhere really, and dealing with certain issues that the public in some instances might find to be what's the word I'm looking for? The little bit I don't want to say unemployable, because that's all based on perception and perspective as well. But going through a rough time, and I would run into him, and I would always stop and chop it up with him, see how he's doing. So, he's like, Drew, what's going on, bro? I'm like, what's up, Greg? He's like, man, listen, I can't call it. He's spitting his little game or whatever. I said, you hungry, man? He said, I could eat. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute. I said, word, a minute? I said, nah, we can't have that. He's like, where you headed? I said, I'm going to get something to eat. You come with me. Walk with me. He's like, all right, cool. So we go down to the little bodega store, on a little side street off the Federal Plaza at the time, and we walk up in, and I get him a sandwich or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and something to drink, a little soda or whatever. He's like, man, much obliged, man. Anything you ever need, you know what I'm saying? I got you if I can get it for you, you know what I'm saying? And I said, Greg, I said, you really a pimp? He said, man, it's in my blood. You know what I'm saying? I said, word, it's in your blood. He said, blood, whatever you want. He said, any kind of girl you need. I said, get me a Puerto Rican midget. He said, word, a Puerto Rican midget? He said, let me think on that for a minute. He was like, all right, I got you. I said, okay, Greg. I said, you know what I'm saying, if you can't come up with that, I was like, this ain't no big. You know what I mean? I really didn't expect that to even be a possibility. I never saw little people, especially of Hispanic descent, really downtown or anywhere around. You know, he's on foot, so I'm not thinking phone call. I'm not thinking connections. I'm not thinking none of that. I'm just like, all right, you know, I go on, I'll go back to work, uh, finish my food, go online, not online, but on the air, you know, with what I had to do that day. As soon as I finish up, I get a call. It's a studio phone, and it's the elevator. You know, in that building, the Wick building. Shout out the Wick building. You know what I'm saying? 12th floor. Uh, you know, my guy in the elevator. We had the old school elevator with the lever. You push it down to go down. Hold it up. It goes all the way up to the top. It stops in between when you manipulate the lever. And the elevator operator called me. Said, "Drewz, you got a visitor down here." I said, "A visitor?" I said, "Who is he?" He said, "I think you should just come see." I said, "Man, you ain't never hit me with that one." He said, "I think you need to just come see this." I'm like, okay. I was like, I'll be on my way. So, you know, I head out to the lobby of the station, and the elevator opens up right there. There was no, of course, we're on the 12th floor. There's no front door. You know what I'm saying? All you got is the elevator and the back stairwell, either going up to the roof or, you know, heading down the long way if you're unfortunate and the elevators need service. So he takes me down, get to the lobby, man. He's like, wait till you see this. So I walk out, step out the elevator, look to my left. Lo and behold, in between the glass doors, the outer glass doors, the inner glass doors, there's my man Greg standing there. And I happened to see
he had your
a
request.
smaller person standing to the left. I walk up to Greg. I said, what's going on? What you doing, man? He said, hey, you know, he said, you looked out for me, I look out for you. And I don't remember her name for the life of me. I wish I had memorized that just for the sake of the story. But lo and behold, man, he had come through, a Puerto Rican little person, and you know, she was she was interested. But I said I was just kidding, man. I apologize for your time being wasted, miss. And she said, oh, it's no problem. You're cute, whatever. I said, oh, well, thank you. So you're very, very much a good sport. I didn't think he could really come through. She said, oh, I understand. She said, yeah, he's for real. And when she vouched for him, I looked at him. I said, my man. I shook his head. I said, all right. I was like, let me know if you hungry again, bro. I say, you know, you're a true man of your word. But, you know, it was just crazy, bro. Like, I had no clue. You know, people tell you stories all day, every day, no matter what city, if you stop and listen. You know what I mean? But
oh, no doubt.
I found everything that man told me about how he ended up where he was, from the Mickey being slipped in his drink, you know, the people hating on him in the game and all of that. I mean, he was 100. You know what I'm saying?
Crucial. Man, that's some shit.
Yeah.
That is some shit for sure.
What about you, man? What you got any crazy, wild, interesting,
well,
over the top?
Well, the fact that this is the Deeper Dives Dialogue podcast, we cannot not talk about water. And a specific body of water I'm talking about.
Are you talking about Dead Man Lake?
That part, aka McKelvey Lake, is the government name of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
Yeah, that lake is what, infamous for bodies popping up and being found in it.
And within vehicles and sometimes tied up or whatever.
That part. So anyway, this is probably what, 95. It was one night during the summer. And chilling with my dudes, you know what I'm saying? I mean, nothing spectacular, but again, you know what, ain't nothing to do with Theo, so trying to figure out something to do because we ain't trying to sit in the house. So my dude was like, hey man, let's go fishing. Now, mind you, this is like at 9 o'clock at night. Like, where you trying to go fishing at, dude? You know, ain't none of these lakes open. Like, let's go to McKelvey. Are you serious? Like, you can't be serious. Nah, man, they got some good fish in that lake. Dude, that ain't fish what you eating if you fish from that lake. But anyway, we was all bored. Fuck it. Let's go. Now, this is before they fixed the bridge that goes over the lake. So it was still that old rickety bridge.
Ooh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that one. So we made a couple of phone calls, rounded up the rest of the crew, and it was probably about a good 10 of us out there. How you got 10 people to go to McKelvey Lake at night in the summertime is still beside me. But still, got all of his stuff together. My other dude was fishing. I'm like, man, I'm not fishing that bullshit. Like, you out your rabbit ass mind. Hell no. Like, if anything, I'm gonna be a lookout. Shit. So we chilling. We actually having a pretty good time clowning. These cats is legit trying to fish. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, dog, you ain't gonna get nothing but a boot or a body out that motherfucker. So I don't even know what you're trying for. So I would say we had noticed like it was somebody else out there in the distance that was fishing as well, because we heard like a radio. All right, cool. It's somebody else out here. So if something go down, we might have a witness. And the key word is might. So
real big might.
We chilling. We hear the other people, but we really ain't minding nobody, nothing like that. So next thing you know, we hear this really big splash in the water. And my one dude, God bless him, he ain't got no hood in his body whatsoever. He was like, yo,
wow,
where's my flashlight at? I want to get the flashlight. Like, are you stupid? No. Grabs the flashlight anyway and shines it. So we thinking that maybe somebody dove in to swim. Why again? I don't know. We teenagers, bro. Anyway,
right,
he shines the flashlight, and whatever it was not swimming. But it was like, oh, maybe it's a dog or something that dove in there. So probably we didn't pay it no mind. We kept on doing what we was doing. They realized they wasn't gonna catch no fish, so we finally decided to leave. So I get home, my mom was like, "Oh, where was y'all at?" I was like, "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." She was like, "What?" I was like these fools want to go to McKelvey Lake to fish. She's like, "Are you serious?" Yeah. She's like, "Why would y'all go to McKelvey Lake?" That's what I said. So we left it at that. Why? The next day on the 12 o'clock news, WFMJ channel 21, shout out to y'all.
TV 21.
Dead body found in McKelvey Lake. Yo. Wow. My mom was like, "Did you hear what just happened? Did you hear that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think we witnessed that." He was like, "Huh?" I was like, we heard something splash in the water. We thought it was a dog. She was like, "Don't you ever go back there again." Like, I didn't want to go in the first place. You ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah, man. That lake used to dry up like every 2 years. Like one side of it, and then the side towards the dam. As I got older, I would be working, and every now and again, one of the jobs I had was working at I almost said filling station, man. Strike that, y'all. I was working at a gas station, convenience store, and the deputy sheriffs were having coffee, standing in the store having a conversation, and one of them brought up that lake, and I told him, I was like, yeah, we used to fish out there, blah 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 blah. He said, well, we do our rescue diving and our what do you call it when they troll the lake, to find bodies and cars and recover stuff. And he said they were in there for the training, and he said, man, listen, near that dam, he said it hasn't been fished for years. And he said, we've had catfish bigger than us swim up next to you, and they're like, it's zero visibility.
That I heard.
He's like, dude, we flipped out because we thought there was a shark, but it's like there wouldn't be sharks in fresh water, but especially not this far north. But he's like, dude, he's like, I'm telling you, what brushed up against me is the size of a man or bigger. He said, we haven't been back to train there since.
Bruh.
I mean, there's cars in that end of the lake, like whole cars, bodies and everything.
You know how your man Beat Down was talking about making a McKelvey dive team shirt for the merch?
Yeah.
I actually knew somebody who did that shit. It was an older dude, and he said that he did fish out a couple of bodies. He had but he said there is no visibility in that lake. And he said that there's this one part, he said, like, it's like a certain length at one part, and then all of a sudden it just drops. So he was like, I say, and the one time I thought I found a body, it was just a Rottweiler though. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Man, that was like the favorite dog of the sharing line.
I'm like, yo, are you serious? He was like, yeah, it was just a Rottweiler.
Everybody had a mean Rottweiler.
Man, oh man, yeah, that's some wildness, bro. Wild as shit.
Yeah. There's a guy I know. I used to sing with him in a recording choir. Shout out Mr. Reynolds. He was a teacher in the public school system, and he used to go out there. I thought he was off his rocker. He's like, oh, we're going to catch us some slab crappie, some big old crappie. You watch. Man, listen, that dude knew exactly what he was doing. He had a lantern, one of those gas lanterns, a 6-foot pole, a weight, a bobber, and a jig. Those neon jigs. They reflect the light, and he would bounce it off the water. While he's doing that, he had the lantern dangling down not far from the fishing line, zapping those mosquitoes and whatever else would be attracted to the lantern, and they drop right in the water. The fish would come up, they see the jig. You know what I mean? Yanking them out.
Bruh.
But it was crazy, man. Yeah, that lake, even in the daytime, it just looked like death.
That looked murk, dude. Yeah. Camp Crystal Lake ain't got shit on that.
Nothing on Lake McKelvey, bro. I'm telling you. You're absolutely right.
Oh, man. At all, man. What other story? You got any other stories?
Gosh, man. Flip. Do I have to say anything else?
Man, I was thinking about that too. I was legit thinking about that too, man.
Y'all look up Flip Willie Williams, man. That's all I can tell you.
Man.
You talk about MacGyver. Who else would you? MacGyver, Rambo. I mean, you could base movie characters off of this person here.
I'm surprised they haven't yet.
You never know. It might have might be an indie movie maker.
It might. You know what though? It might not even been an indie. It might have been a real Hollywood film, but just the names have been protected to save for the innocent. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
They might just change the name up because I've never ever heard of anybody that did what he did, got locked up,
Yeah,
broke out,
yeah.
and tried to break into another one.
So for the audience that may come across this later on and is not from the Yo, this man allegedly, and well, I didn't even say allegedly, it was
Nah, he was executed,
documented.
bro.
Yeah, he took out several members of Jamaican cartel. I want to say even some members of the Colombian family.
I
Um,
don't know.
yeah. Um, Also, a good a family friend, a good family friend of one of well my cousins, some of my cousins on that east side of town. Shout out east side again. Um, yeah, man, he was home from I want to say Air Force, might have been Air Force Basic, and came to check out a house. It was a setup. He had no clue. He had nothing to do with nothing. Um, but he ended up being taken out by the same guy. That was one of the major things. Two younger children that witnessed it. I want to say they were around 12, 13, and 14, 15 years old. It was brother and sister. I won't say their names. I don't need to dredge that part back up. But they witnessed it, and want to say that he forced them at some point in time to be accomplices, although they didn't take anybody out of here or delete anyone, but they were with him. Um, they were put into protective custody. They were placed in the juvenile detention center. He broke out of the county jail and into the juvenile justice center and almost succeeded in exiting them out of the equation for the trial.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know that there's ever been a jailbreak prior to that or after that.
There has been.
Has there been? Okay.
Yeah, there has been. The one after, it was after. It was, remember the newer prison that they built, that CCA joint is over Youngstown Hubbard Road.
Oh yeah, I meant from that actual the
Oh, from that
Mahoney
actual joint.
County
Okay,
lockup.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that I don't know. That I don't know.
But yeah, the federal one. Go ahead. You were saying the federal
Nah,
one.
that was
Somebody
like
made it out of that one.
it was five of them that made it out. And shit, I think we seen one of them one night. Are you playing?
You know how the is.
Nah, man. Me and one of my dudes, one of the same ones. He also did not want to go fishing that night because he thought the same thing I did. But we was on our way back to his crib, I want to say, and this was at the golf course, the public golf course
On the north
and
side.
yeah, and we seen shout out to the north side.
North side. Shout out.
We seen this dude crawling. Like, fuck is this dude crawling for? Like, he looking for, because it was at nighttime, and we like, is he looking for night crawlers to go fishing or something? Why do all my stories got something to do with fishing? We're like, you looking for night crawlers or something? Next thing you know, it was like, breaking news: 5 inmates escaped from the Youngstown federal prison. Like, shit. That might have been one of them niggas right there, dude.
Look, it's likely. I can't even say it's possible. I mean, we used to see dudes that committed major crimes, put it that way, just chilling.
I mean, I'm gonna say allegedly that was him,
Allegedly.
because where the location from the prison to where we saw him wasn't but 2 miles.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, crazy as shit, bro.
Yeah, man.
But
I
that's
mean,
the yo.
that's the yo. That is the yo. In a nutshell. But listen, man, Bullwinkles, Larry Lounge,
Smokey Joe's.
Smokey Joe's, aka Smokey Hoes, all day. Uh,
For sure.
the Blast Furnace.
Yeah.
Shoot, Buckeye Elks, Jitsos. What was the other spot? Breakout Lounge. You know, I mean, as live as the fun was, there was always an air of anything could pop off.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
And you know, the most fun places were the ones with one way in and one way out, but I stayed away from those spots, unfortunately, on one end and fortunately on the other end, because I never had to worry about that particular,
Yeah.
you know, particular danger or threat of only one way in and one way out. But I've been plenty of places where 5 minutes after I left, Smokey Joe's being one of them, and I would tell the group of people that met up with me or we rolled together. And here's the thing: when we rolled into a spot, we did not go in all at once. We didn't line up in the line all together. You know what
You
I'm saying?
couldn't.
No,
It
even if you
wasn't gonna let
could
us in no daggone way if we did that. You had to be
at
strategic
all,
with it.
absolutely. So, you know, it'd be 10, 11 of us, and we wouldn't really even gather up and speak all at one time, really, ever during the night. But we would only congregate in smaller groupings after we had been in there for 10 minutes or so. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
had no idea who we were with, who, you know, if we were alone. So when I would go spots alone, I didn't even worry about it. I just made sure I was somewhere where I had the vantage point of the entire room. You know what I'm saying? And I had a clear way. If I needed to move, I could move. If I wanted to get out, I could get out. Uh, you know, even if it was some resistance. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, Struthers. We used to have a lot of the dance hall parties. You know, the old churches in Struthers. They would have dances or hip hop nights or what have you. Remember, we used to go to battle with those.
Hey, you can't forget the nights at Krakowski Hall, my brother.
Oh, Krakowski Hall. Oh yeah, it jumped. People watching this gonna be like, Krakowski? What kind of name? Yeah, man, it was a Polish
Yeah,
dance hall and it jumped.
I used to.
It jumped.
I used to pop for sure.
Everybody would have their family events. Some people would even have like, I want to say reunions, but they'd have like family get-togethers, and then they didn't invite extended family and friends. You know what I mean? As long as they were cool with you, they knew you, sometimes even by face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, buddy.
They let you come up in there and have a good time as long as you know how to act. But yeah, man. Oh yeah. I mean, gosh. I'm thinking,
Bruh, remember that one year? I'm gonna just say the name of this. I'm gonna just say the name of the event, and you're gonna already know.
okay.
City Fest. Remember that? No, remember the year when they was shooting on camera when the news crew was there, bruh?
Yes. Which is wow. Yeah, I mean that was
And this is like early 90s, bro. I'm talking about
yeah,
maybe what 90, 91?
yeah, yeah. Because yeah, that's around the time. Okay, so you know, back in that time, shortly after Colors, not too long after New Jack City, right in between Boys in the Hood
It was right between Boys in the Hood and Menace.
and Menace to Society.
Right between, I think Boys in the Hood had just came out though, so
Yeah, but that's when we started to notice everybody wearing red or blue. Now, here's the crazy part: is when you talk to Gen Xers and Gen Yers, it wasn't really new to them because their parents or their uncles or their cousins from other cities were already into that. And so there's a whole nother heritage in that whole connection as well. You had the Italian mob, you had the Greek mob, you had the Jewish mob. I don't know that we really have too much of a Russian mob, but you definitely had a lot of the immigrant descendants and so-called blacks in the same neighborhoods, in the row houses, in the Monkey's Nest is an area that they call the Monkey's Nest between the north side and the west side. There's two different Monkey's Nests, and I'm not a historian on that aspect of Youngstown. Forgive me on that. But a lot of them worked for the steel mills together. A lot of them worked in the auto industry, General Motors, Delphi Packard Electric when they would jump in to Mark and Company, So, yeah, there's a deep interconnection of both above board, stellar citizens, and they're still related to the underworld bosses and a little bit of everything else that you may or may not want to get into depending upon your particular spiritual alignment or energetic expression. And we all will be together at any given time. And when that happens, anything could pop off. And oftentimes it did.
Yeah.
We learned when you hear gunfire, you don't automatically take off running. You look to see where it's coming from.
Man, shit, bruh. You got to think about it. We were so used to that shit. If it was happening and we had out-of-towners or somebody who wasn't familiar with it,
yeah,
they're running duck, relax. Them fools over there shooting.
Yep. And then they have nothing to do with us.
Keep it moving.
They know we over here too, and they are not interested in messing with us. We have nothing to do with what they're doing.
I remember a YSU party. Shout out to YSU and the YSU parties. But it was off campus. And I don't know, for some reason, some dude just decided to walk off and just let off a couple of shots in the air for no apparent reason. The dorm kids was like, oh my God,
Right.
The police rolled up. Hey, what happened? Some fool down there shooting.
Yep. Oh, man, you made me flashback. Man, I didn't want to go completely with a 0 dark 30 with the stories, but hey, listen, it is what it is. I'm 11 years old. I'm staying on Glenhaven Avenue, South Side. Part of Glenhaven between Market Street and Erie, I want to say.
Okay.
Down near South.
That was a good part.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, yes, there was a lot of fun activity. There was a lot of mischief, still fun, and then there was some dangerous element that came in a little later. But I was in that tweener stage, and it was kind of still a little of both. But one day we're playing out on the street, playing. I can't remember if we were playing stickball, literally, or we were playing freeze tag or whatever. A black Lincoln Town car with tinted windows pulls up, and this is like a 19. I want to say it's an 86, because I want to say the year was about 88, 87, 88. No, 80. It might have been 87. Guy pulls up, and he's Italian. He cracks the window, and it's the other thing. We had this code home training, that someone called it, code that we was taught by our parents. Even if it was an adult of a shadier affiliation, you spoke to him with respect. You didn't get too close. Right. You know what I'm saying? You didn't jump in the car with them unless they were family and it was necessary. But you had enough respect to know the safe distance, show respect, hear what they're saying. So I don't walk up to his car, but I'm standing about 8 to 10 feet.
At the base of the driveway?
Yep, at the base of the driveway. You could picture it, right?
Yes, sir.
He says, hey, kid, come here for a minute. I said, come here. He said, yeah, just come a little closer. I don't want no harm towards you. Just need to tell you something. I said, no problem, sir. I said, okay. I got a little closer. He said, you're a good kid. He said, I've seen you. He's like, you don't have to worry. He's like, I don't mean you no harm or your friends. He said, but they listen to you. I said, oh, they do? He said, I told you I've seen you before, right? I said, yeah. He said, they listen to you. He said, do me a favor, please. I said, okay. What's the favor, sir? He said, they should go in the house for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. He said, they'll know when to come outside again. He said, just let them know that for me. I said, I got you. No problem, sir. He said, you're a good kid. He said, I'll just pull over here and wait. I said, pull over here and wait. He rolls the window, pulls over, parks in front of my friend's house. One of my friends that's out playing with me. That friend today is a successful barber with 2 shops in Youngstown. Shout out Excalibur.
That's what's up.
But yeah, I tell them all, I said, yeah, man, the man in the black car said it's time to go in the house for a few minutes. They said, word, okay. Nobody questioned me. I wasn't the oldest kid on the block. In fact, my friend that's a successful barber that lived across the street during that time period, he was older than me. So he's like, cool, got you. We all go in the house. A couple minutes later, pop, 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 pop. Screech tires, boom. We come back outside 5 minutes later or so. Sirens. Police pull up. Hey, kids, you guys see anything? No.
No.
You guys didn't notice there's a dead body over across the street in that lot near your friend's yard? Sure didn't, officer. We weren't outside when that happened. And we had no clue that there would be anybody laying anywhere because we weren't out here. You sure? Absolutely, sir. All right. Cops leave. Other squad, well, they don't leave. They pull up, tape off the area. Other cops pull up. Ambulance pulls up. They go retrieve the man's, body. Town car circles the block. Window rolls down, winks at me.
Sound about right.
Can't make this stuff up, y'all. So
sound about right.
Years later, I run into the same man in the steam room at the YMCA downtown Youngstown. Wasn't supposed to be up there either. I found the steam room by mistake. See, they didn't want certain ones of us to even really know about the steam room. Like for years, there's people I mentioned now. They're like, there's no steam room there. I'm like, okay. I don't even correct them because I'm like, yeah, maybe you're not supposed to go to the steam room. But we were running around and through the back corridors. You know how it went. You there on a day pass, don't even got a membership, and giving the staff hell. They chasing us around. Hey, you ain't gonna get no more day passes. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Youngstown Downtown Central YMCA, man. Good times, always safe, fun. But yeah, man, brother and I, we stumbled on the steam room, running around them back corridors up on other floors, and guy told us, wait outside. We were like, oh, we didn't know. My bad. Our bad. He said, no. I'm gonna get some clothes on. He's like, you guys wait outside. I'll be out in a couple minutes. He comes out in a couple minutes, dressed. He says, come with me. He takes us on the regular elevator. And we didn't even know it went up that high. Go down to the cafe. He said, what you like? You like soda? You like pizza? Buys us what we wanted to eat. He says, see, there's certain places, and this is how a lot of the adults back when I was coming up in Youngstown, I don't know if you had the same experience, they would talk to you without talking to you. Oh, he said, you don't want to stumble into the wrong places. You sometimes could run into things you don't need to see. We have rules for a reason, and you guys seem like you normally otherwise follow the rules. We're like, yes, sir. He's like, that's why I'm getting you pizza and just talking to you, because he said you don't deserve to be banned or anything like that. You're curious kids. He said, but there's certain things you're not meant to find out about at this age, and certain people meet in certain places you wouldn't think of to discuss certain things that you wouldn't want to overhear. He's like, for example, like right now, he said, everybody seems to be doing their own thing, but there's somebody watching us right now. He said, you know how I know? We said, why? He said, because that's what I pay him to do. He points over into the lobby of the Y as a guy sitting there. At the point where he says, that's what I pay him to do, he moves the newspaper from in front of his face to show who he is to us, and then puts the newspaper back, goes back to reclining in the chair. He says, so you never know when you're alone and when you're not. You know what I mean? He's like, you always want to be safe. He like pats us on the cheek. All right, enjoy your pizza. You guys take care. It was nice meeting you, you know? And it was like, you know, even what some people might call scumbags, there was a code. You know what I'm saying? And we kind of, some of us picked up on that, some of us didn't. You know, even in the gangbanging era, I would try to warn or admonish my friends that were into that sort of thing. Hey, man, there's guys with hand signs and handshakes like the ones you do that drive town cars and Cadillacs and other vehicles. Not just saying they're not going to stereotype, but there's other vehicles, of course, as well that you wouldn't notice, but they see you. And those guys can make a phone call or make a move and you're never seen again. You know what I'm saying? And I would just let them know that, like, that's not a threat. Like, I'm not on with them or on the other side, not even connected like that. But I've run into some that let you know politely, like, I'm not threatening you. I'm just admonishing you to be aware of your surroundings.
I'm just giving you a warning. Pay attention.
You could be caught up in some stuff that you don't know you're caught up in, not paying attention, and it'll be too bad, so sad.
That part.
You know what I mean?
That part. Man, yeah, buddy. That's wild, but I can understand it. Because it sound really on brand, but shoot, I got a story about the South Side too. I mean,
South Side.
This was like what, 96, I want to say. It was a Sunday in January. And we had same dudes, had went to the mall. It's the Southern Park Mall. I forgot what we went out there for. I ain't had no money. I was just riding. So on the way back, I was like, yo, y'all hungry? I was like, yeah, all right, let's go to Raleigh. This was when Raleigh's was on the south side, you know what I'm saying? Right on Market was it Avondale?
Yep.
Yeah, Market and Avondale.
Yes, indeed.
And we had got some rallies and we was like, all right, we're about to go find somewhere to eat this. So we went exactly 2 blocks north to that Arby's. Now remind you, Arby's was so bad on that mug that they only had a drive-through cracking. It was a full restaurant, but only the drive-through was open.
Yeah.
So we sitting there eating. We was bumping that Jamal Fade Jamal out. Chilling. So all of a sudden, we see this. It was a 1978 primer panel Monte Carlo that pulls up in the drive-through, like right before you place your order. And then all of it just stops. So of course, we on alert. We know where we at. So this black dude gets out, light-skinned dude. No lie, this is Sunday afternoon in January, so you know it's cold and snowy. Gets out with, and you know how them Youngstown winters is. So he gets out the car. He gets out the car, on a black skull cap, some black Lokes, ashy denim jacket, and some ashy denim jeans, ashy black. And he had one of them chains that went around to his from his wallet to his back pocket, like a stereotypical biker.
Yeah.
So he gets out the car and he goes for the trunk. he started walking to the trunk. My window was like, "Oh, he got a gun." We all laughed like, "Man, shut up, you bugging." Next thing you know, this dude legit goes in his trunk and pulls out a AK-47. At the same time, in unison, he was like, "Oh shit, we gotta go." Dude put the car in drive. We ain't never left a parking lot so fast in our life. He pulls out the gun and goes to the drive-through. Like, dude, this fool about to rob the fucking drive-through.
Right.
Like, I would say he would be unsuccessful, but with that weapon he had, nah, bro, he got the cash. He had to have got the cash that day. Because that shit was crazy. Like, I had never in my life seen a gun of that caliber in person. Like, oh shit. And he wasn't even rushed. He nonchalant like a motherfucker. Cool. Collected. Walks in, gets out, goes to the trunk like it's nothing. Pulls out that AK, walks back and gets in the car, casually drives him like, yo, we gotta fucking go.
Man. Southside was wild, man. So, on the other end of Glenhaven, before my godbrothers and them moved over to Willis.
You talking about the area by Glenwood?
That half, but
okay.
Actually, this particular event
was it closer to Hillman?
Closer to Hillman.
Got you.
All right, so there was a house before Willis. We was over on Glenhaven and visiting with my godbrothers. We outside across the street. There's a young lady that caught my interest. So they're like, go talk to her, go spit your game, man. I'm like, you know me, man. I don't really spit game, you know what I mean? I just try to have a conversation. They're like, yeah, whatever, man. I bet you if you go over there, sing to her. I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna sing to her. So they work it up in the conversation to where it comes up that I sing. So they try to throw me the softball, you know what I mean? So I go to smack it out the park. I start singing to her. She starts to swoon a little bit in her chair. I'm starting to get a little more confidence, get a little cocky. All of a sudden you hear, hey. So, my younger godbrother, he says, hey. I'm like, come on, A, you know what I'm saying? Don't attack it. Whoever that is, don't even engage. He's like, right. Nah. He's like, we out here bored, Drew. Is one girl. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, I'm like, all right, good point. So dude's like, who the F is that? Boy's like, who the F is you? Next thing you know, he emerges, all 6'5", 240 pounds, 9mm strapped up version of himself he is. He starts walking towards us. Now, we don't know about the 9mm yet. We just see, he's a big dude like us. You know what I mean? So, whatever. He walks up. Hey, this ain't motherfucking Jodeci practice. I'm like, yo, man, why don't you just go on about your business? You know what I mean? I'm just having a conversation with the young lady, and she wanted to hear a tune or two. He like, right. This ain't the radio, FM. You ain't motherfucking Jodeci, da-da-da. It's like, yeah, whatever, nigga. Why don't you go on ahead? He's like, devil don't care nothing about us, so we might as well kill each other. We look at each other like, yo, that's mixed messaging and what we talking about. He's like, so why don't we just shoot? As he says, why don't we just shoot? He's brandishing a 9mm in his waistline. In his left hand, he's holding a car stereo. I don't know if he just punched somebody's window out and stole it, or if it came out of his own ride, because he's walking up the street and he was coming from a little distance. You know what I mean? He wasn't like walking just like 2 houses up. We had to see him coming up as the street lights start to come on and it's getting darker. That's when that whole hey starts. You know what I'm saying? So now imagine he walking up and we're to this point. So I look at my two godbrothers and I'm thinking, sucker punch. It's 3 of us. He's 6'5", I'm 6'2". Younger God bro 6'1", other God bro 6'4" or so. You know them
Right.
both very well.
Of course.
I'm thinking we on that page, but the younger one takes off, and the older one, he's kind of just what do you call it? Shell shocked. So he's like backing up. And man, we don't want no problem. We don't want no problem. We don't want a problem. Saying it like, I mean, he's like speaking in tongues that fast. So I'm still standing there. He turns and goes after my younger god brother that runs. Almost like a dog that smells fear or whatever.
Yeah.
So my mindset, crazy as I'm thinking at that time in my life, I'd
have tripped him.
I go run back towards the house because my thought is my younger god brother told me where he stashed the heater. So I'm thinking, okay, you got a heater, you going after my bro. I'm about to go get the other heater, and it's about to be even. I'm about to give you and the devil what you wish for.
Right.
So I come back out after I realized Godmom found the heater, took the heater, put it in her purse, and waited for the younger god brother to admit to her that and I didn't know this whole part of the story till later. All I knew was it wasn't where he said it was, and I looked other places, but I only had seconds, in my mind. It would probably took a couple minutes, but by the time I get back outside, he's under a street light on the ground, dude standing over him with the pistol out, and I go get the big god bro.
Yeah.
Big god bro, crazy.
Yeah.
Big god bro come out with me. I go run at dude that's standing over little god bro. He turns and points a pistol towards me, and I'm like, cool. I as soon as he gets up, I say, hey, run. He takes off, run behind the houses. So now he's walking towards me, but big god bro is coming up behind me towards him. So anyway, big god bro pretty much handled it. Nobody got shot that night, but the end of the day, it turned into a huge inside joke because when we called Uncle Dub came through with his 38 old school. Which one of y'all gonna hold this? Because this ain't gonna be happening to my nephews. He said, you gonna hold it. Gave it to me. He said, I know two things. You ain't gonna use it if it ain't necessary, and if it's necessary, you gonna use it. I said, You got that right. He said, I know I got it right. He said, next time, kick him in the nuts. So every time something happened, man, that's where that came from. We would all be hanging out together, and all of a sudden, one of us would yell out, yeah, he did so-and-so. Yeah, just kick him in the nuts. But, yeah, man.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, man. I got so many stories. We could be here for hours, but, that was the Yo. The Yo was a very interesting place. At the same time, man, James Brown, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Aretha Franklin, Richard Pryor, Lou Rawls, Marvin Winans, Vicky Winans, BB and CC Winans, mostly BB, but BB and CC at one time, Vanessa Bell Armstrong, Daryl Coley, Commissioned, Fred Hammond, all these people have come through Youngstown for concerts, performances, meet and greets, relatives, to visit relatives and family. Scarface, Too Short. I'm trying to think who else. Devin the Dude, X-Clan, Another Bad Creation.
Dude, everybody done fell through the Yo, man.
Yeah, they didn't come through.
I mean, she even from Wayne and Ross.
Yeah.
Then came through the Yo.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I mean, shout out Who's Who. Shout out Ray Prisby. Shout out Dwayne Turner, Pastor Dwayne Turner, excuse me. Now, but yeah, I mean, people who brought people, connected to other people. A friend of mine used to refer to it as the other side of nowhere. which is somewhere. You know what I mean?
But yet and still, the draw that we have is everywhere because you can't go somewhere, and even with the shout out to Rufus Black, we cannot forget Rufus.
Not at all. Shout out Rufus
at all.
Black.
As all the swag that we have that has been stolen, siphoned, and people that made money off of it.
Shout out Easy Access Dance Crew.
For sure.
Shout out Sumi Nana. Shout out Mad Crew.
Word.
Shout out Ill Elements.
Word.
Kid City.
Word.
Soup City.
It's so much. Critical Mass.
Gosh, I know I'm forgetting some names. Forgive me, y'all. Zetro.
Word.
Javon.
Word, man. There's so much talent. My man, what's his name? Chauncey?
Yeah, Zetro. Yep.
Hey, nah. Oh, you can't forget Zoe on that bass.
Zoe, the genius. Yeah.
You can't forget Zoe on that bass,
Zoe,
man.
the genius.
Shout out to Twitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure, man.
Shout out to Dave Leonard.
Yeah, you can't
super dope organist.
Shout out to the homegirl Jimmy the Pink. You can't forget Jimmy the Pink.
Jimmy Pink for sure. We go way back like 8-track Sheridan Elementary to YSU Beagley Hall. Like I mean,
go back like fat crayons and paper plates at day camp.
Yeah, that part. Yeah, indeed. Sure. Southside represent again
all day.
You know, I mean, Booker Newberry Sr., Book New, Rose, you know, Black Rose, you know, that whole listen, man, like I said, Sam, Spanky, Duke,
everybody,
Red, the whole, I mean, all y'all, man, mad love in my heart for y'all to this day.
For sure.
It's where we come from, bro, and it's where we return when we want to reconnect. We need to reconnect. We need to feed our souls and remind ourselves of who we are. You know, for real.
That and they get some Schwabel's bread and to see them Eddie Loves Debbie signs all over the city.
Facts. Speaking of Eddie, Ed O'Neill, Ursuline High School record setter, YSU, Word. You know, NFL. I mean, to Hollywood.
Word.
You know, man, we have so much talent that's come from
the Warner Brothers. The Warner Brothers is from Youngstown.
Well, they're from New York originally, but yeah, they set up their first studio in Youngstown. It was the first Warner Brothers studio. It's now the Dior School for Performing Arts. It was once called Edward Powers Auditorium. I was trying to get some pictures for y'all for the thumbnail, you know what I'm saying, but they didn't want to cooperate. I gotta figure that out for the next time we go into this topic.
Just be glad I'm in the garage and my green screen wouldn't work because the sign I had was
okay.
It was just a picture of the state of Ohio and the different divisions of it. The majority of that shit said corn, but for the that shit said The Godfather Meets the Wire. For real.
That's the fact.
Yo, for real. Yo, and,
man, we didn't even get to the stories about the Super Crips and when I say Super Crip, let me justify that. We talking about individual members of certain sets that were not only bona fide by the streets, but went to war with certain agencies where certain highly trained, skilled individuals had to pursue these individuals and literally battled with them for years. I mean, I'm talking about crazy stuff like running from rooftop to rooftop. Yeah, I wouldn't believe it, but it was witnessed.
Man, it's gotta be a part. It's gotta be a part two to this. Cause shoot,
Oh,
you said super crip, and I'm now this ain't gang related, but remember Blue
Yeah,
in the wheelchair?
in the wheelchair.
And that brother, I mean, that brother would ride that wheelchair in the street, and that's just Blue go around.
It had music. He had listen, man.
Kicking.
His music was thumping. That was a cool dude, bro. All blued out.
Sure.
He had blue everything.
For sure.
Blue everything. But we're not promoting any particular set over another or any of that. We just saying we've seen and heard
this is
stories.
what we done witnessed, man.
Yes.
Shoot.
Yes.
I mean, they touched on it on an episode of the Dirty 30, but the Youngstown tune-up.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't called that for nothing.
Speaking of which, God rest his soul. There's an individual that was affiliated with our homie Rufus, and he was the one that made the trip to LA possible for Mr. Claret.
Okay.
I don't want to tell too much of anybody's backstory business.
No doubt.
But there was some ill-gotten gains on my dead homie's part. That was one of the things that he would tell you himself. If he was sitting right here, yeah, I did that. It was fucked up, but I did what I had to do. He would just, you know what I'm saying? He'd stick it up if he had to get it and make things happen for you if he felt that you deserved a chance and it wasn't no other way he saw or you saw. You know what I'm saying? That shout out to the North Side again, product of the North Side. Shout out Northside Knights.
Hey, shout out Maurice Claret, man. He doing.
Shout out Maurice Claret, man.
Shout out to that brother, man.
You made it. You made it, man. You made it. We're proud of you.
Sure.
Listen,
for sure.
Football is not the entire world. You know what I'm saying? But you definitely did your thing when you did that too.
For sure.
And I was cheering and hollering for you the whole time. So,
word.
You know, but yeah, man. You know, backstories, man. Every story has a backstory.
Indeed. True indeed. And the Youngstown is full of them, bro.
I was about to say that's a place for it.
We fucking full of backstories, bro. Shoot. I mean, we ain't here because we ain't even going to Mill Creek Park, bro.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So
man,
we definitely got to do a part two to this one, bro.
Oh, indeed, absolutely.
Wow. Definitely, bro. Definitely.
Yeah, man.
Definitely. Because,
oh yeah,
like I said, we could go at least 4 hours. At least 4.
Yeah.
And that's just on small talk.
We didn't even get into Outdoor Park.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. One of the most popular amusement parks at one time. I want to say, if not the first, one of the first reverse roller coasters.
Probably so.
And it was wooden.
Probably so, man. The Jackrabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite ride, man. The Wildcat was dope because it was fast, but that Jackrabbit turned back wabbit. I remember when we moved into that neighborhood on it's near Lanterman. What is that back street? Bonnie Bray.
Yeah.
It was our backyard. The fence line, we can go to the back fence and we could watch the rides from the backyard. Go around the corner and be in the parking lot to entry.
Yep.
Those were the days, man.
Indeed.
Only town I know where you got an adult theater that was across from a candy store. And nobody even questioned. Right up the block was the Med Art place where they did gender reassignment surgery.
Bruh.
You ain't never been to a place like that. Just
And this was all on one. This was all within 10 blocks of
10
each
blocks
other.
of each other. But the adult film theater,
And the kid
was
store
right
was
across
legit right across the street.
Candyland.
Yeah.
Right across the street. And the guy who owned Candyland owned the adult theater. He had adult candy on us. Let me stop. All right, I go.
Wow.
In the Adora Park District. That's what they call it now. That's the park. It probably was called that before. What am I talking about? But it's all connected to the Mill Creek. And then the Lanternman's Mill, which is where this park gets the name. You know.
Yeah.
Rich history, man.
For sure. For sure, man.
Thank you all for joining us again. This has been another Deeper Dives Dialogue Unlimited podcast.
Word.
Like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget, you can also join our Deeper Dives Unlimited community at Locals. You can check us out on Rumble also. If you're not a YouTube person, check us out at rumble.com/Deeper Dives Dialogue Unlimited. And then it would be /locals, I want to say. If you want to join that Locals community, $5 a month donation. Help us increase the positivity of our creativity and our aesthetics, as well as the topics of discussion, being able to go even deeper with those dives. We'd appreciate it. Absolutely. Any shout outs? Anything else you want to say on this show?
Man, shoot, I think we pretty much did a whole lot with a little bit, because we still got a whole lot more.
Sure.
Just on the we didn't even branch out further into the state of Ohio. So
exactly.
Yeah,
you know
what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're gonna have to part 2 it, part 3 it.
Yeah, so just stay tuned.
Absolutely. But we thank y'all for joining us, and y'all be easy. We love y'all. We'll see you next week.
Show is good to be back. You know what I'm saying?
It's so great to have you back. Indeed.
Yeah, buddy. Indeed.
Feeling better. That's the best thing.
Word.
Yeah. You feeling better, right?
Fan-freaking-tastic.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
But
sir.
yeah. Check us out next week. Like, share, and subscribe. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the whole Schwable Room crew. You know what I'm saying? We got it for you if you want it.
Absolutely. Y'all be easy. We'll see you next week.
Word.
Word.
Peace.
Peace.